are not going to believe this one.
This
Welcome
is
back.
nuts.
As we learned in part 1, the world of corporate healthcare was rocked by the shocking assassination of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Shot in the back and leg as he was entering a Hilton hotel for an investor conference. The killing was swift and brutal. Police believe the perpetrator was a man dressed in black and carrying a gray backpack who used a silenced handgun in the attack. The assailant was described as proficient with firearms, able to quickly clear a jammed weapon and continue the shooting. Fleeing the scene on an e-bike, the suspect disappeared into the maze of Central Park, leaving behind a trail of questions and fear. Investigators have been poring over a mountain of evidence, including shell casings found at the scene that were etched with the chilling words, defend and depose. Could this be the work of someone with a deep-seated vendetta against the healthcare industry, or was Thompson specifically targeted? Adding another layer of mystery to this case, Mr. Thompson's widow revealed he had received threats prior to his death. But who would want to silence this powerful executive? And what secrets might they be trying to protect? Join us as we examine the latest developments in this gripping case, uncovering new clues and delving deeper into the dark underbelly of corporate America. This is part 2 of the UnitedHealthcare enigma.
This is breaking news from Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And we continue to follow breaking news on the fatal shooting of the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. Police appear to be closing in on the shooter's identity.
Just minutes ago, the NYPD releasing new photos of the suspect, the clearest photos yet of his face. Police hoping that someone will recognize him.
Those photos taken at a hostel on the Upper West Side where police are executing a search warrant.
And that hostel is just over 3 miles away from the Midtown Hilton where Brian Thompson was shot and killed.
We're diving into a straight-up murder mystery today. Corporate intrigue, assassins, the whole 9 yards. And just a heads up, this one's for adults only. So if you've got little ears around, now's the time to grab some headphones.
Yeah, this one's a bit dark even for us.
No kidding. We're talking about Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, found shot dead on the Upper West Side execution style.
Police also revealing bullet casings found at the scene were engraved with the words depose, deny, defend.
Those words bear a striking resemblance to a 2010 book called Delay, Deny, Defend, Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It.
All of this new evidence factoring into the police investigation as they work to find the killer.
Deny, defend, and depose. What the hell?
It's chillin', right? Like something out of a crime novel. But this is real life, and those words, well, they tell us a lot about the motive.
So we're not talking about some amateur here. This was a pro, someone who knows how to handle a firearm.
Absolutely. Not only was there the silencer, but the gun actually jammed at one point. And the shooter cleared it like it was nothing. That kind of proficiency suggests someone with serious experience.
Damn. Okay, so let's set the scene. It was early morning, right? Thompson was on his way to work.
Around 6:40 a.m., just outside a Hilton hotel, he was headed to an investor conference. Imagine that you show up for your morning coffee and bam, a crime scene.
Fucking wild. Okay, so...
And it's not just your run-of-the-mill shooting either. The details are what make this case so damn strange.
Oh, totally. I mean, right off the bat, this wasn't some random mugging. This was planned, precise, and the killer wanted to send a message.
Exactly. The location, the time of day, the fact that the weapon was fitted with a silencer, all of that points to a very specific intent. But what really gets me are the shell casings.
Yeah, the shell casings. For those of you who haven't been following every detail, you got to hear this. Walk us through what happened. How did it all go down?
From what we've gathered from eyewitnesses and the security footage, Thompson was ambushed as he was about to enter the hotel. The shooter, dressed all in black with mask, came up behind him and fired at point-blank range. At least one shot hit him in the back, another in the calf.
Brutal. And then the guy just vanished.
Not quite. He took off on an e-bike heading into Central Park. Pretty ballsy move for an escape route, if you ask me.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if he knew the area.
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds like the cops are on his trail, right? They found some evidence.
They have.
Thank you. And this investigation is now a little more than 24 hours in. And to shed some light on how the NYPD and other law enforcement may be proceeding, we want to bring in retired FBI agent and ABC News contributor Richard Frankel. Richard, thanks so much for joining us. I'd imagine that these new photos where you can see the suspect's face will really give a big boost to the investigators.
Oh, yes. I mean, they've already put it out, through all the news. Listen, they're probably using AI to try to help track that down. I'm sure they've sent that picture to Minnesota to see if there's any connection back there, through their DMV or through other mechanisms. So that picture alone should start really bringing in some new leads for this case.
Rich, I want to get your thoughts on the fact that they found on those shell casings written words on, somebody took that effort to engrave the words delay, deny, defend, and of course, this is a throwback to a book that came out about how some of the healthcare companies don't pay claims. What do you make of when you see something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that goes directly to what we believe now could be the motive. You're still going to follow all the leads and make sure that there are no other reasons that this could have happened. But really, that's going to be the directive, the direction of the leads and the motive going forward. Who was denied coverage? Was it the shooter himself? Was it a family member? Is it just a belief pattern that he has? Are we going to find online or somewhere, his treatise on what this book talks about and his belief patterns? So they're going to be looking at everything now connected to those three words.
And another piece of evidence that was left behind, and we're not sure if it was on purpose or by accident, was a cell phone that may have belonged to the shooter. What more do we know about that phone?
Yeah, right now we understand that the NYPD, working, I believe, with federal law enforcement, has gotten a search warrant for the phone, so that they're going to be able to work with the provider, hopefully, break into the phone and get the information off there. Even if it's a burner phone, even if the person only used it for this event, you're going to be able to get quite a bit of information off that, where the phone went, where did it ping, were there any phone calls to any other locations, did he do any searches? The phone could provide a host of other information that will also aid in addition to the photo of the shooter.
Just remarkable to me that someone that would go to the efforts of covering their tracks to escape would then somehow drop, forget, or lose a phone, which would be a trove of evidence, obviously, to anybody. Richard, we got to go right now, but retired FBI agent, ABC News contributor Richard Frankel, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
And we do want to show you one more time a look at the new photos of the shooting suspect. We will be bringing you all new developments as they come in during this newscast and at ABC7 NY.
A cell phone was recovered near the scene, some footage of the suspect in the vicinity of a public housing project, and even a fingerprint. They've also searched a nearby hostel where he might have been staying.
All right, so hopefully it's only a matter of time before they catch him. But let's get to the point. Who was Brian Thompson? And why would someone want him dead?
Well, as you mentioned, he was the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, one of the biggest health insurance companies in the country, not exactly an industry known for its popularity.
Understatement of the century. People love to hate on health insurance companies.
And for good reason sometimes. Denying coverage, jacking up premiums, they've built a bit of a reputation.
So is it possible this was some kind of revenge killing? Someone who got screwed over by UnitedHealthcare and decided to take matters into their own hands?
It's definitely a possibility. And it gets even more complicated when you consider that the company was also involved in an insider trading investigation and some allegations of unfair trade practices.
Ooh, juicy. So maybe Thompson had some enemies within the company, too.
Potentially. And adding another layer to the mystery, his wife mentioned that he had been receiving threats.
No shit. What kind of threats?
She didn't go into specifics, but it definitely makes you wonder about the context of this whole situation. It's kind of wild how much attention this case is getting, right? I mean, you've got a CEO, assassination, cryptic clues, a suspect on the run. It's nuts, like a real-life thriller.
Total clickbait. But hey, even with all the hype, I think this case really exposes some fucked up shit about the healthcare system, you know? I mean, we all know it's a mess, but this is next level.
For sure. It really makes you think about the cost of doing business in such a high-pressure environment.
Yeah, right. Like we're talking about people's lives. Healthcare decisions can make or break you, and when you have these massive corporations, when they're putting profits over patients, shit's bound to hit the fan sooner or later.
And it just breeds resentment, you know what I mean? And Thompson was like the poster boy for that system.
Especially with those insider trading allegations and unfair practices. Even if that stuff wasn't connected to the murder, it still paints a really bad picture. you know.
Exactly. It just adds fuel to the fire.
And don't even get me started on the political angle. This case is just going to make things worse.
Oh, yeah. You know it. You've got folks on one side calling for more regulation, and then the other side's like, this is just one bad apple.
Yeah, it's a mess. And the fact that they haven't caught this guy yet is just adding to the chaos. It makes you wonder if this is just the beginning. Like, are other executives in danger?
I mean, it's possible, right? Like, what if this inspires more attacks?
Fuck, that's scary.
It is. I bet you there are CEOs all over the country beefing up their security right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
This whole thing's a wake-up call.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how safe you think you are, shit can go down.
Exactly. It forces us to face some uncomfortable truths.
Yeah, like, who can we trust?
Mm-hmm.
And what are we willing to put up with?
Totally.
So where do you think this is all headed?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. But I have a feeling this is going to be a long and messy road.
Yeah. And while we wait for answers, everyone's just going to keep speculating. Like, is this personal or political? Or just plain greed?
Who knows?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
It's a total mindfuck.
It really is.
Okay. So what do you all think out there? Are we dealing with a lone wolf?
Or is there something more going on? Hit us up on social media with your theories.
And as we wrap up here, I think it's important to remember that a man was murdered. Like, there's a human side to this story.
Yeah.
We've been talking about all this corporate stuff, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
there's a family grieving this loss.
I can't even imagine what his wife is going through.
It's awful.
And it just shows you that violence can touch anyone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are.
This whole thing makes you think about the pressure on people in these positions. I mean, the stress, the scrutiny, the competition.
It's a lot to handle.
Yeah, it really makes you think. So where do we go from here? What have we learned from all this? Well, for one thing, I think it's pretty clear that CEOs need more security, especially in industries like healthcare. It's kind of insane that Thompson didn't have a security detail with all those threats.
I know, right? You'd think UnitedHealthcare would have thought of that. But this goes beyond just protecting CEOs. This case makes you question the whole system. Like, is it all about profits over people?
Yeah, for sure. This should be a wake-up call for the whole healthcare industry. They need to address the root causes of this kind of resentment and distrust.
Absolutely. We got to find a better way. Otherwise, we're just going to see more of this shit.
God, I hope not.
Me too. Well, that's it for this deep dive, folks. We've covered one hell of a story, more questions than answers for sure, and a whole lot to think about.
Yeah, it just goes to show you sometimes real life is stranger than fiction.
And a lot more fucked up.
True that.
So what do you all think? Any theories about this case? Hit us up on social media. Let's talk about it. And if you have any real info that could help the investigation, please contact the authorities. The murder of Brian Thompson remains a chilling reminder of the vulnerabilities even those in the highest echelons of power can face. As this case unfolds, the search for answers continues. The assailant, skilled with firearms and seemingly driven by a calculated rage, is still at large. The chilling messages etched onto the bullet casings, Denny, Defend, and Depose, offer a glimpse into a motive shrouded in mystery. Was this an act of personal revenge or a statement against the healthcare giant Thompson represented? We'll continue to track this story as it develops and bring you any updates as they emerge. In the meantime, if you found this episode informative, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to stay informed on this case and others like it. Your engagement helps us bring these important stories to light, and be sure to check back soon for further updates on the UnitedHealthcare enigma. Until next time, stay safe out there, everyone.